Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about She-Hulk. Don't worry, I'm not gonna complain about how Disney is ruining the character and all of that. No. Instead, I want to complain about how Marvel is ruining the character. Listen, when it comes to live action stuff, I don't care for that. I don't watch the MCU. The last movie I've seen from it was like half of Iron Man 2. So from my point of view, they could do whatever they want. I don't have any dog in that race. However, I do care about comics. That's everything to me. Just look at this channel. It's about comics. And seeing what they're doing with comics, I have some things to say. So today I wanted to look at the first issue of She-Hulk and the latest first issue of She-Hulk that actually came out like 6 months ago, written by Rainbow Rowell. Of course, the classic first issue of She-Hulk, the Savage She-Hulk, written by Stan Lee. Okay, so starting off, we have the Savage She-Hulk #1 collector's item issue. Everyone complains about the madness that was the 90s when it came to comic book collecting, but this came out in 1980, and already we are seeing Marvel pushing towards that direction. Stan Lee proudly presents The She-Hulk Lives. And here we have the first page with credits, created and written by Stan Lee, illustrated by John Buscema and Chic Stone. We've got Stan the Man, we've got Big John. Come on. Here we see Bruce Banner in LA because he realized he can't keep doing this all alone. He can't keep running from the police, from the army, all by himself. He needs help and he wants to ask for that help his cousin Jennifer. Jennifer Walters, a criminal lawyer very close to Bruce when they were kids. Of course, they haven't seen each other in a very long time, which gives Bruce the perfect opportunity to catch Jen and the readers up to speed with what's been going on. Of course, Stan Lee, a very strong proponent of catching the reader up on things. And we also get some info on Jen. Again, she's a criminal lawyer. Here she tells Bruce how she's defending a guy that's probably being framed for murder by a mobster. And of course, they're being watched. And the mobster puts a hit on Jen and she gets shot. Of course, with Bruce there, he decides to help. And again, this was written in 1980, so do keep that in mind when you see Bruce trying to control his anger, trying not to turn into the Hulk, but also trying to fight off guys with guns. He uses a hose to soak the mobster up. And of course, Stan Lee has to point out that the guy couldn't hit them with water in his eyes. So the mobsters leave, and Bruce needs to help Jennifer. She's still breathing, but she's losing a lot of blood. Thankfully, there's a doctor's office right next door. Who would have thought? So Bruce gets Jen inside and he gives her a blood transfusion using his own blood. Afterwards, he calls the ambulance and the police. And of course, keep in mind, he's Bruce Banner, the Hulk, he keeps running away. Of course, he's not gonna have any papers on him, and the police point this out, and they actually take him in as a suspect. Of course, he can't stay in because bad things will happen, so he decides to run from police custody, leaving Jen in the safe hands of the hospital. She wakes up, she remembers what happened, she remembers Bruce telling her about the Hulk. And while she thinks about that, the mobsters come into the hospital, deciding to finish up what they started. This time there's 3 of them. Of course, thanks to Bruce's blood transfusion, Jennifer Walters transforms into the She-Hulk. And this is actually how she gets her name. One of the mobsters goes, "It's a girl. Her skin, it's green." It's like she is some kind of She-Hulk. And there we go. That's how we got She-Hulk's origin. Of course, Jen decides to fight off the mobsters. They keep trying to run away from her using the elevator, and again here we see Jen's power on full display here. I mean, she stops an elevator, she rips a full telephone pole up, throwing it at the mobster's car, and just love this panel here. I mean, just seeing the wheels of the car just flying away. Again, shout out to Big John for his attention to details. Here we see the caps of the wheel just flying off. And Jennifer captures the mobsters, and being afraid, they actually confess to everything. And that's it. Jen solves her problem, and also her the case's problem. The police have the mobster's confession here, so Jen decides to return to the hospital. Of course, her room is actually destroyed, but she goes into the next room. Again, very convenient, all of this. And a nurse finds her. She goes, "Don't worry, it's over. That female savage was horrible." But of course, Jenna knows better. Jen knows that from now on, she will be the savage She-Hulk. And that was it. Again, really cool introduction to the character. A lot of action. I mean, we've seen Bruce here. We see Jen displaying her power against the mobsters. Again, Big John, absolutely lovely artwork. And Stan Lee doing what he did best around that time, giving us awesome, memorable heroes that will last the test of time. And speaking of awesome, I do want to point this panel out. So when Bruce tells Jen his story, he goes, "I devoted myself to working on the awesome G-bomb." And it's like, I don't know, man, maybe come up with a better name for something so deadly and so powerful. But of course, it's the awesome G-bomb. Okay, moving on to more current times, and here we have the latest She-Hulk #1 with a variant cover by Artgerm, an amazing homage to the sensational She-Hulk by John Byrne. Absolutely gorgeous cover here. Too bad the rest of the issue doesn't pay homage to John Byrne's classic but we'll see more of that later. So the first page, again, a small introduction, catching us up to speed with Jennifer Walters, with She-Hulk. We've got credits, and so the first issue, we've got Stan the Man, Big John, and Chic doing the inks there. Three people. Here we see the credits for the variant cover artists being longer than the credits for the people actually working on this comic, and that really goes to show what current Marvel's priorities are. So the issue starts off, and right from the bat, the first line, it's "I hate starting over." And again, the first line, come on, man, make us excited to read this. You can start off with "I hate starting over." And it's like, why would I wanna read this if the writer hates herself and of course the character? But as we'll see, we don't really have characters anymore. They're just stand-ins for the whatever writer is on that issue. So a whole page of Jennifer Walters just crying about what a fucking loser she is. This was absolutely depressing. I mean, we've got 5 panels here and they're all just misery porn. And right off the bat we see Titania catching up with Jennifer and actually wanting to fight. And of course she's a villain wanting to fight the hero, and the hero goes, "Really, Mary?" And they just banter on. There's absolutely no peril here. There's no danger. She just goes, "Fight me," and it's like, "No, I don't want it, but sure." And again, there's no threat. Just these panels, Jen doesn't even turn into She-Hulk. And the villain, quote unquote, is still made to look weak. I mean, how could she possibly be a threat? And even when Jen turns, again, she needs to put her suit away because we're reminded that she is such a loser. She only has one suit. And it's like, dude, this is the hero of your story. And of course, you can play this, oh, she's a loser and all of that. If you're talking about Peter Parker in the beginnings, but this is Jennifer Walters. I mean, people complain, and actually rightfully is so, that Stan was very misogynistic and portraying women in a very bad light. But come on, looking at his Jennifer Walters and the one portrayed by Rainbow Rowell, a woman, and it's like, come on, man. We finally see She-Hulk, and she's fighting Titania, but again, there's no threat. It's like watching wrestling, the bad kind of wrestling. And She-Hulk goes, "Hey, how's your life? Where do you live? Are you still married?" Trying to point out that Titania's life is actually way better than hers. And even Titania here goes like, dude, that's just pathetic, man. I don't even know how to feel about this. Again, This was supposed to be a villain fighting She-Hulk. And of course, it's current Marvel. We can't have villainous, bad women character. So in the end, they patch things up and they actually decide to meet up again to for some sparring, but again, not actually fight, like doing what heroes and villains do. Oh no, their best days and all of that. And again, really, no one's winning in this situation. Let's just say that. Then we see more of Jen being hired by this lawyer here, and again, it's just so pathetic. So the lawyer gives us this, gives her actually this office here. It's basically a broom closet, and we have to remember that Jen is a fucking loser. However, and this is where the annoying parts start. The lawyer points out that she hired her so she wouldn't have to face her in court because again, she's Jennifer Walters. She's a good lawyer, but also she doesn't have any clients and she's pathetic. And it's like, make up your mind, Marvel. Again, the same situation here. Jen meets up with Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, and Jen goes, I'm sorry, I'm late, I'm the worst. And Janet goes, nonsense, you're the best. Make up your mind, which is it? And by the end of the issue, Janet actually hooks Jen up with one of her apartments, and it's actually amazing, of course. We get to see a huge closet, all the suits, shoes, clothes. I mean, again, Jen's hooked up here. And surprise, surprise, her life's suddenly better. But there's this little thing. She did nothing for it. And it's like, yes, girl, yes, queen, you go, girl. But like, she didn't do anything for this. She just received it. And again, not to point fingers, but it's kind of current Marvel. And the issue ends up with a crash into Jen's apartment, and here we see Jack of Hearts, formerly dead, actually dying. We'll see in the next issue. But man, this was so pathetic and such. First of all, it's a disgrace, but an insult to Jen and to She-Hulk as actual characters. We spent so much of this issue with Jen just moping around, telling us what a disappointment she is. We see characters telling her, no, queen, you're the best, handing her stuff, making things better. Of course, she doesn't do anything to actually earn that, but that's it. This is the current She-Hulk. Please be excited. And that was it for my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Do keep in mind, if you wanna complain about the Disney series, don't. That doesn't matter. Comics, this right here, this is what should matter. And if you wanna complain about something, complain about the comics because they're screwing those up too. Anyway, I'll see y'all next time. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, maybe subscribe. For more videos focused on comics, look into my library. You'll see I do love comics, and it's really annoying when I see them being treated as they are in this instance, with She-Hulk being what she is right now. Okay, I'll see y'all next time. Bye.